Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jenny will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. And I have with me today, Carol Bastien. And Carol and I met, of course, no one who's been listening to the show for very long is going to be shocked about this. We met through BNI because everybody who knows me and has been listening to the show knows that I am a huge BNI fan. I've been a BNI member for over 10 years now. And when I met Carol, I knew I had to have her on the show because she has an amazing story to share with us today. So Carol Bastien began her own journey in nutrition after coming to a health crisis with her own family. For the past 25 plus years, her focus has been working with the Juice Plus company, sharing about whole food nutrition and prevention. Carol is widely recognized in her community as a professional that helps bridge the historical divide between conventional and alternative approaches to health and wellness. Carol first began her health career as a surgical technician and then chose to be a stay-at-home mom to raise her two sons. Being a strong athlete, Carol played competitive racquetball for 20 years and also achieved and served as a certified racquetball instructor with Southern Illinois University in Carbondale for 5 years while traveling and competing in tournaments. Carol received her LEAN Lean Coach certification with the Dr.William Sears Lean Coach program, and also her personal trainer and group fitness certification, and completed the 2009 St. Jude Memphis Marathon and the half marathon in 2010 through 2015. Carol is most proud of her family, her husband, Randall, of 41 years, their two sons, daughter-in-law, and two beautiful granddaughters. Welcome to the show, Carol.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
I appreciate that warm welcome.
No, that
was a lot.
But it is, and it's impressive because even in the one-to-one that you and I had a couple of months ago, I didn't even know all those cool things about you, that you were a certified racquetball instructor, that you competed nationally in racquetball. That's so cool.
Yes. I came after my husband and I got married. I was looking for something to get more active, and there happened to be a brand new racquetball facility opened up in DuQuoin, Illinois. And that's what everybody was doing. And I fell in love with it. It was just so much fun. And so then it happened. 20 plus years playing racquetball. Enjoyed every minute of it.
That's awesome. Do you still get to play for fun now?
No, I had to kind of hang that up. I've had 2 major back surgeries, and so I'm unable to do that. But between ending my racquetball career, stayed pretty active, and then personal training came into play. So that was kind of another competitive edge there too that I enjoyed. And both of my sons were very active in sports. So.
Oh, that's good. That's really awesome. And so you kind of hinted that you got started with your Juice Plus career because you were looking for something that would allow you to be the stay-at-home mom that you wanted to be. So tell us, what is your story that specifically got you into Juice Plus in particular? Because there are a lot of health and wellness companies out there. What got you into Juice Plus?
By accident.
Okay.
And actually it was my own health that got me into Juice Plus. And I was introduced to Juice Plus. Actually, it was in about 1994-ish. And because of my activity playing racquetball and just being a very busy mom, like a lot of other people, I took very good care of myself, I thought. But my activity level and my nutrition level didn't match up. And that ended up with some health issues. And I was introduced to Juice Plus. They said, hey, you need to give this a try. I did. It worked for me and started feeling better. And then a little bit down the road, a few years into that, I decided, I think I want to join this company. I really love what it's done for my family. I started sharing it with other people. And so it really did kind of happen by accident. And but really didn't look at it as a business till later, about 6 to 7 years ago, because a lot of life happens in between there, kids and college and other careers. And this just has been something that no matter where my life has been, it has always been something I was able to do, whether it be part-time, sometimes it's full-time, sometimes part-time.
Yeah.
But it's just been there for me, always been there.
That's awesome. So in your 25 years, what would you say is probably the achievement that you're most proud of that you have accomplished with your Juice Plus business?
Well, I had achieved the senior sales coordinator level, and I took the long road, which is okay. And I think that's my experience with this company and how I've done things is I've done it at my own pace. And that's what I've enjoyed about this, that it wasn't demanded that I do it at a specific time or anything. But as my life changed and I had a little more time available to me, or I think it was really more that I just got more of a passion for what I'm doing. And there's just more of a need here today. So achieving that level was a big step for me and more of that leadership role. And so that's where I'm at now and hope to, work my way up on my own time, my own pace, but that's where I'm at.
That's awesome. And so in order to hit that level, because if I remember correctly, that's about halfway up the Juice Plus company ladder, essentially, right? What would you say was the biggest aha moment in your head that allowed you to hit that? Because you said it was a leadership thing. So there must have been a point where you went, oh, what I'm missing is this, or this is how I'm going to get to this next level. What was it for you that helped you reach this level that you're at now, the senior consultant?
Well, I think it was more or less at a certain point, I had made a lot of excuses for myself because life happens. Life happens to everybody. And if you started talking to people, you'd realize that you're no different than anybody else. And you can't wait for that perfect time because it is never going to happen. No. You can't wait for your house to be clean. You can't wait for all the kids not to be sick. There's just that endless cycle of excuses. And I had made several for myself. And there was just one day that I realized that I just had to get out of my own way. I just had to make that decision that even I'm going to set small goals, make myself accountable, and, express those goals that I wanted to go for. And it may have been that I just wasn't ready until that particular day. But I think really it was my own excuses that got in my way. And so, in that sense, if anybody's procrastinating on going forward in whatever it is you do, just know that the timing is right now. You may have to go minute to minute, day by day. Right now, we've all been going day by day. So just get out there and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I would have to say that's a very consistent pattern that I've seen amongst all of the people who are very successful in direct sales and in hitting the goals that they're looking for, is that at some point or another, they made an all-in commitment. They said, you know what? I'm done playing small. It is my time to go forward and I'm going to give this my all. I'm not going to let me or anything else hold me back. And I think that's a big difference between those who are in that 1% in the world of direct sales and network marketing and those who are in the 99% is literally just the decision. And I don't mean like that small voice that says, I think I'm going to do it this year. If the word think is in the sentence, you have not decided.
No.
it's the difference between people who quit smoking and the people who are just taking a pause on their smoking journey, right? I'm sure we've all seen that. There are people who just one day they are able to quit cold turkey because they decided they were no longer a smoker, right? I think the same is true for our business. Who would have thought we would be equating smoking with our direct sales business?
And especially health.
I know, especially a health business.
It's true.
I think it's absolutely I think that's the foundation for the success is the fact that you bring up that you decided that you're done making excuses, that it's your time to succeed. And I think that is, I think that's a big point that I want the listener to really pay attention to is that decision point. So now that you've done that, you've been working with your team members as well now to hopefully make that same decision. Is that a discussion that you get to have with your team members on a regular basis about the decision?
Yes. Progress over perfection. Just moving forward, day by day, figure out what you're going to do today, even if it's one thing, just pick one thing and then each week, and it just builds on itself. And I think I've always drew from past experiences too. I always like comparisons or little stories or things, but sports and athletics and things like that has always been a big part of my life. So there's been specific things that I've done with racquetball that I never in a million years ever thought that I could play the open division and actually win the state title in the women's open division. That just wasn't there. But I kept working hard, and guess what? It happened. And then the Memphis Marathon. I never thought I'd ever be able to run a full marathon after my first back surgery. Wow. And I started, training and different things. And I trained for a full year before I was ready for it. But I think of those things in that time and that training, that it was all a process. I didn't go out the first day, the first week, the first month, or even the first 6 months and do it. And in fact, I didn't do it until that day. And everybody kept saying, oh, you need to run at least 20 miles before. And I was like, nope, nope. If I can get 17 in a training session, I know I can get the rest. And so that's things that I have done and kind of went back to personal experiences that I have succeeded and done a goal. And so then I started using that within my business.
Oh, I love that. Okay. So one of the episodes that you're going to want to go back and listen to is an episode I did with Michelle Nedelec, because she talks about a very similar concept, which is if you're not feeling confident in a particular area yet, go find something else that you're confident in. And the example she gave in this particular episode, and I know this just because I just happened to listen to this particular episode a few days ago, because I was on with Michelle Nedelec for 3 days on my summit. And I was like, man, I need to go see what she talked about on her episode again, because I wanted to hear it again. And the example she used is, how confident do you feel in tying your shoelaces?
You do it without looking.
We don't even have to look at our shoelaces. We are so confident that we can tie them, that we can do that. Now, she'd walked me through a process of, okay, so what does that confidence look like and feel like in your body? Like, where is it? What does it look like? If you had to associate a place in your body, where is that confidence? What color is it? How does it make you feel? And going through that whole process, then she goes, okay, now you take that and you just apply it to this other area where you're not as confident yet. And she said, it's not faking it, because you're not faking it. That is your real confidence and moving it over. And I think that is brilliant, that you're taking the confidence of being a great mom or confidence of running your business and turning around and putting that into your sports, or vice versa. So you're like, oh, I feel really good about racquetball. Well, now it's time to take that confidence and put it into my business. I think that's brilliant. I love that, love that, love that. So in your case, as you were doing that, which direction were you taking that? Were you taking your confidence in your sports and your athletics and putting it into your business?
Yes.
And what were the specific concepts that moved over from sports to your business?
I think I know it was the mental. It was the mental. I like within sports, that the mental part was always the hardest part. And any good elite athlete has to have the mental, and you have to visualize those things. So I would go through a visualization of how a match was going to go even before. Or so if things start going poorly, what am I going to do? Am I going to take a timeout? Am I going to walk the court? Am I going to, there's all different things.
Right.
But what was I going to do to get back into my own head? And I would say that's the biggest thing that I have taken from the sports is the mental part into my business. So, but, because not every day is a great day. It's not always a sunny day.
Right.
Some days are just hard. Some days that just suck. What can you say? So
as you're going through that visualization then for your business, what are some of the visualizations that you have put yourself through in order to get yourself in the right mindset to accomplish what you want in your business that day?
Especially before I make calls or things. Again, I do that visualization again of how the call is going to go. I always want to make sure that I'm being positive. I want to take excuses from other people. I want to take those things that they'll say, oh, well, it's not the right time, or it's too expensive, or it's, for whatever million, I can't do pills, So when I start talking to them, I take all of those objections away. You try to in the first couple sentences and just bring up the fact that, oh, wow, this is an amazing way for you to get all these fruits and vegetables in your body. And the great thing about it is so affordable. So I've already took that off of the table for them where they can't really say, oh, well, I don't know that I can do that. So that's how I try to do that within my business with calls and things like that.
I think that's a great idea because one of the things I'm regularly teaching my clients is to go through and visualize what you want. So in this case, you're using it for your calls, putting yourself in the right mind frame, putting yourself in the positive mindset, getting yourself to smile. I'm assuming you're smiling before you even pick up the phone and
smile and dial, right?
Yeah, there you go. And oh my gosh, people, I want to point out that Carol just made an amazing point here, guys. She actually picks up the phone and calls people, right?
Yeah. And some days I don't want to, but we do what we got to do. But you know what? Those days that I am not really feeling like smiling and dialing or whatever, usually those are the days when I talk to my customers or whoever it is I want to talk to. They bring me up because that call turns into them either, oh, thank you so much. Maybe they're not interested in what I have to offer, but thank you. It was so nice to hear from you. And gosh, that just makes me feel better. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really great point to make is that when you aren't necessarily feeling motivated to do the thing that you need to do, you can visualize what you get when you do enough of these phone calls, that you get enough of the clients, when you get enough team members, right? When you help enough other people get what they want, when you help enough other people get the health that they want, when you help enough other people get the lifestyle that they want because of the business that they're doing, right? When you help enough other people do that, just the visualization of looking at what it is that you're wanting to accomplish should be enough. Literally just taking 2 minutes. It doesn't take very long. You don't have to sit there and meditate for 20 minutes on this visualization. No, 2 minutes of planning out and looking at what does that life look like when I've achieved what I wanted? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And I mean both emotional feelings and tactile feelings, the feel of the leather in the car that you're going to earn, or the feel of the wind on your face when you're on the incentive cruise that your company is offering. Like all those things, include all of those things in your visualization. And trust me, you'll be more than ready to pick up the phone after 2 minutes of going, okay, I'm ready,
Yeah.
pumped, I'm ready to go because I can smell the leather of that car, or I can smell the new car smell, right? So I think that's something that I really want to point out to people is, when you're not feeling like doing it, a little bit of visualization can help you get there. So thank you, Carol. That's awesome. That's a great pointer.
Well, and so many people right now just want that connection more. And we're getting out more in public, but there's still a lot of people that aren't comfortable and they are so lonely and they just need somebody to talk to. So
yeah, absolutely. And what's also interesting too is if you haven't already pre-scheduled the call with somebody, if you're calling out of the blue, I'd be willing to bet, Carol, you probably leave more voice messages than you do have actual people picking up the phone, right?
Yeah. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people now, even like myself, if I don't recognize a number, I always say, if it's important, they'll leave a message and then I'll call back if it's somebody I know. But yes, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. So many of us, I think, begin to tell ourselves, oh, I have to make 10 phone calls a day and that's going to take forever and blah, blah, blah. No, it probably will take you fewer than 10 minutes to make 10 calls because the likelihood of somebody actually picking up the phone is pretty small and they're going to listen to your voice message. And so as long as you're wording your voice message in such a way that they want to call you back, then you're not spending the time up front. You're spending the time on receiving the call that they called you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They called you back. And so I think that is something that I think will help shift people out of the, I got to call people to, I get to go leave 10 voice messages. And if someone actually does pick up, just be ready to ready to talk.
Ready to talk. Another tool that I use is, and I found with some people, this does work better for them. And if you kind of know your customer or who you're talking to, but is to use voice text messaging. That way they can hear your voice, they can hear your enthusiasm or whatever. And most of the time they will listen to that because it's just easier. And the younger people, that's what they want to do. They don't even listen to those voice messages sometimes. So if you know your client, your customer, your prospect or whatever, you might want to pick one of those. But that's another way they can hear your voice.
Right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right because you just can't ever there's no font that tells people that you've got a smile on your face as you're typing it, but people can literally hear a smile in your voice. It's really interesting. You can tell the difference between two people who pick up a phone at a customer service call. If you're calling, to get something fixed, right? Yes. And you can tell who's smiling and who's not when they answer. Yes. So, and the same is true when you leave those voice texts. Or one of my favorite things to do to reach out to people is through Facebook Messenger and the voice messaging feature that they have through that, because then that also limits the length of the voice message. So you get 1 minute to say what you're going to say and you either delete it or send it. Right. Yeah. And so I try and keep it to just one because I don't want someone looking and seeing like a minute. Another minute, right? Another 38 seconds. I don't want them to see that they're now going to have to do 2 minutes and 38 seconds of listening before they can respond to something.
Right.
I want one short message going out to them that just says, hey, I was thinking about you, or hey, I actually sing happy birthday to people through Facebook. It's just a really fun way for people to hear from you, connect with you, as you said, and really get to then want to interact more with you. Right. And I think that's just brilliant. So Carol, as you've gone through, what would you say? So you've been doing this for over 20, almost 25 plus years now. What would you say is your secret to direct sales success?
Well, my secret is I am rock solid on the company that I work with and also the products that I share. And I've laughed to people. I said, well, if there's a fire in the house, even though I know I can get more, I'm going to grab my Juice Plus and I'm going to grab my pictures. Oh, and the cat and my husband, of course. Yes. But that, I think, knowing that there is whatever direct sales you're in, if you have any questions or you're just not sure, then that may not be the right company for you, because you've got to be, sure that this is what you do. And after 25 plus years, I am definitely rock solid on this. But I think also I had read a book recently and talking about your purpose and your mission and everything. And something that I got from that was, knowing your purpose. And you may think, I thought my purpose was to share Juice Plus with everybody. But what came out of that I really found after doing some digging on my own was that I really do love being a servant and serving others and finding resources for them, whatever it is. I get joy out of that. And so that's something that I feel like is really my purpose, not necessarily my business, but my business is the vehicle that gets me to share to these opportunities, whether it be sharing wellness or sharing Juice Plus or volunteering or helping with different organizations around. So I feel like if you're rock solid and you really know what your purpose is, you're going to be successful at any level. And it doesn't just because, as one of your previous podcasts, and they talked about maybe you don't have a big team and you're a team of one.
Yes.
That's okay. Be comfortable where you're at. And it's okay not to be at the top, but want to be at the top of the business or the company. If you're comfortable where you're at, and then, there might be we always want to say need to be a little uncomfortable if you want to grow. We still want you to grow, but be confident, I guess, and comfortable where you're at and be rock solid on what you're sharing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that, and sometimes it's, yes, being comfortable with what you're sharing, but I think the confidence, when you're a little uncomfortable, the discomfort comes from being in a new place or talking to a new person, right? The confidence piece comes into play when you know that you can handle the conversation, right? I think it's not that people should always be uncomfortable with what they're doing. You can still be very comfortable with what you're doing and just be uncomfortable with the fact that you're talking to someone that you don't know yet, or, those kinds of things. So
good point.
I like to point that out for people. Is I want you guys to understand that when your leaders are asking you to step outside of your comfort zone, they're not saying, okay, now go do something that's like, we want you to jump a plane and go fly into the middle of Mongolia and just completely immerse yourself in Mongolian culture. No, that's not what we're asking you to do. As leaders in direct sales, what we're asking you to do is be willing to pick up the phone and call someone that you maybe haven't talked to in a long time, or maybe you haven't talked to at all ever, and they're just someone who's a Facebook friend. That's the discomfort level of reaching out to someone who you don't know very well. It's not that we're asking you to completely change your life. It's taking little baby steps into those areas of discomfort, right?
I agree.
Awesome. Good. I know I kind of went on for a little bit but I like people to understand the difference, right? Because I think there's an important distinction there.
Yes.
So, but Carol, you have some awesome freebies for everybody who is listening right now, and I am so happy to share them. So the first set of freebies that you have for our listeners are what?
The first thing I have some wonderful cookbooks that they're e-cookbooks that you can access, and I'll share that website and site you can go to. But also then I have some samples if you will just text me. And I will need your address because I'll have to mail them. But just let me know, hey, I want the samples, the Juice Plus samples. I'll be sending you some Juice Plus Complete, some chocolate vanilla, and then also some of our great chewables.
Oh,
so,
cool.
We'd love to share that with you as well.
That's awesome. So for those of you who are interested in the e-cookbooks that Carol is offering, the link is in the show notes. So for those of you who've done this before, your regular listeners, you guys know how to get to the show notes. For those of you who've never listened to a podcast before, what you're going to do is, as long as you're not driving, make sure you grab your phone, click on the episode that you're listening to right now. And all you have to do is scroll up just a little bit and you'll see the show notes with all of Carol's contact information that she has asked us to share with you guys, including her phone number. So you guys can text her if you want this free samples. And there's also a link to go to those e-cookbooks where you guys can click on those and go download those e-cookbooks for healthy cooking. So Carol, thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Me here.
Oh, we're so happy to have you here as well. And guys, make sure you take her up on this offer. This is an amazing opportunity to get to try some of the things, because most of us, I know for me personally, I know I'm familiar with Juice Plus as like the supplement company. I didn't even know you guys had shakes. That's really freaking cool.
Well, I think maybe you'll have to get some samples. I can hook you up.
Oh, that's good to know. Awesome. Well, guys, everybody who's here, I hope you guys reach out to Carol and thank her for this awesome interview. I think the information that has come out of this is going to be something that will help a lot of people in their business. And also make sure you guys reach out to her to check out those cookbooks and for those samples. So thank you for your time and your expertise, Carol.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we're glad to have you here. And I think we just might have to have you back later because I'm sure you've got more wonderful things to share with our audience as well.
I would love to.
Yes. Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, we want to thank you guys for listening and make sure you stay tuned because there is another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.